All right, let's get back to the live. I just lost the live. Did I lose the live? Okay, we're back. All right, people. I'm sorry about that. Um, I'm sorry about that. This thing don't wanna. All right. Okay, I wanted to say I'm not. I'm not. I'm gonna let it go. I'm not. I'm not gonna put the link. The link is always there. Um. I'm really. Let me just get back here. Okay. All right. Now I'm not gonna bother with this system no more. Okay. So God had requested Moses to bring him down. And let me get to Exodus 19:3 and 4. Let me go to 19:3 and 4 real quick. Exodus 19:3 and 4. And here we are. And Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain, saying, "This is what you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the sons of Israel, you yourself have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on eagle wings and brought you to myself." So what he's telling them about, I'm sorry about that. Um, Apostle Hunt, how you doing? Kingdom blessings. What he's telling them there in 19 is that he brought them out of Egypt. When he brought them out of Egypt, he parted the Red Sea for them to come across the Red Sea. And when the Egyptian army began to advance because they thought they were trapped, they began to advance. He then, when they was trying to also come across the Red Sea, he closed the Red Sea with them on them. And now they get to the wilderness in their camp just outside of the mountain, just at the, like, not so much at the base, but down around the base of the mountain. So in verse 10 to 13, which I will go to right now, in verse 10, now this is what Moses is still on the mountain with God at this point in time, and he's talking to Moses. He's talking to Moses. Let me get something right here. A few people. Um, let's get it. Miss Daisy. Just let her know I'm back, so she can come back on. I'm back. Because I got this. We got disconnected from there. Um, I was running real late tonight, and I am so upset. Okay, so now as we look at 10, the Lord also says to Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow." So there are 3 days that he's giving them 3 days. So Moses is to go back down the mountain. He has to consecrate them, meaning here's what he wants him to do. And have them wash their clothes and have them ready for the third day. That means they have to wash all their clothes and refrain from things that they were doing. Hey, good. Hey, Clarence, good to see you. How you doing? I will, and you're welcome. Then I'm gonna keep doing it for you too. I'm gonna keep calling, and keep praying for your brother. I'm gonna keep praying for him. So he's telling them, so or they have to refrain from all the other things they normally do. And they even have to refrain from being with their wives and things like that. Um, the Lord will, where he says, and ready for the third day. For on the third day, the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people, but you shall set boundaries. Now, God is telling Moses in 19 that you're going to set a boundary around the mountain because people, I don't want people coming up on all over, trying to come all the way up on the mountain. Because if they're not, in other words, if they are not pure in their heart and pure in their thing, they're not pure in their heart and they have any devious, they or mischievousness, they can be killed because of his glory and his his glory and his divineness. So God is telling them that you must set a boundary for the people around, saying, beware that you do not go up on the mountain or touch the borders of it. However, whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot through, whether animal or person. The violator should not live. When the ram's horn blow, well, when the ram's horn sounds, I mean to say, a loud blast. So the ram's horn should have a loud blast, so like a one loud single blast. That means you will know that God is now coming down to the mountain. He's coming down. This, as we read in 19, you'll see that this cloud comes down onto the mountain at the top, and I think they have a picture of it of today where the top of the mountain is burnt. The top of the mountain is burnt. The round is burnt. It's burnt where he had come down. Um, he says that near the blast, a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So they shall come up to a certain point. So Moses's point is that's as far as they can come. Wherever his boundary is, that is the far as they can come. And then Moses is also to tell them when so what Moses did when he went down to the people, he told them, and like I said, uh, they were to wash their garments. He also said to the people, be ready for the third day. Do not go near a do not go near a woman. So they could not even go near a woman because they had to be pure. They had to be pure. They had to be clean, meaning you had to refrain from any noogie noogie. Uh, as we say, I'm going to kind of keep it a little PG because you may have some children watching, so I'm going to keep it a little PG. You got to keep away from the noogie noogie, no touching a woman or anything like that. So you had to be that way. So now as we look in 20, when we go into 20, as we also spoke about, God is now going to speak to them, and God is going to tell them in Exodus 4 and 6. Now God makes the statement that we read here. God has come down to the mountain, and I'm going to start here. Then God, so let me see where he comes down from. Let me see where he's coming down. It breaks. Okay, Moses went down. So now God has come down and God goes to speak. And here's what God says in 4. He says, you shall not make yourself an image. So I'm going to go start from verse 1. Then God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other God before me. And I'm sorry, I'm reading, once again, I'm going to let you know, I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible, I'm not reading from the regular King James Bible. You shall have no God before me. Okay, so we're seeing that there. God is letting them know you have no other God before him. You are not to have no other God before him. Uh, you shall not make for yourself an idol or any likeness of what is in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the water under the earth. Meaning, when we talk about an idol, you're not to have something that you worship. You know, we know we make things that have um certain things we have that we put together, but we are not to make any idle idle things like if you create a mermaid and you sit it up there and you pray to it or anything like that. These are what he's talking about, these idols, something that you would worship. And this is what he is saying. It is these images of idols that you worship. um you shall not worship them nor serve them, for I the Lord your God am a jealous God, inflicting the punishment of the father on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me. Now remember, with Abraham and them, when they back before, they were creating mischief and they were creating things that were being mischievous. That's one reason why they wound up getting into the moment with the slave in their slavery with Egypt. So as we see here, God has told them now. He's saying to them, "You're not to make no glory, no images." Yeah, he's a jealous God, he's deserving of our undivided love and our devotion. So we must, we should, and I know you heard me say it must, but we should always put him first at what we do, whatever we're trying to accomplish. Because when we accomplish those things, yes, we do it, but we also do it with his help and his love. As we say, his help and his love is why we do that, why that happens. These things happen because we do it with God's love and God's understanding and in his ways. And yet, despite this clear instructions, many of us we still fall into the trap of idolatry. Many of us, even today, many of us fall into these traps of idolatry. We run out and we buy uh, $175 pair of sneakers that we kind of like, sort of like we do worship it because these are athlete sneakers, and we run out there and we oh, I gotta have me a pair of those. I gotta, and we have guys, people that would buy 5 and 6 or 7. They have like 10 pair. They have every pair. They would say, I have every pair of Jordans, but you only got 2 feet to wear. You only have 2 feet to wear the sneakers. So how you really gonna wear all those sets of sneakers? Money is our biggest idol, worship, because we want so much of it, and we crave for so much of it, and that's one of our biggest idols, and that's one of our biggest masters, because it controls us. We want more money. We turn into to fiends for the more money we get, the more power we feel we have, the more we sometimes we mistreat people because we're out to get money, we're out to get what they got, we're out to get what they have, and this is what we're doing. And he's letting them know that you fall into these traps when you begin to worship When you begin to worship money, when you begin to worship another man, or you worship another man or worship another woman, like sometimes some of us, we worship our own pastors, our own ministers, our own imams, and all those. So the reason why I say that is that I'm just going across the board because for myself, I'm no more um, desire of being worshipped in any way. Respected, yes, every man should be respected. When you see me, you don't really know me, you say Mister, but you're not to be bowing down to, things like that. We are not to be doing that, not even to our president. We're not to worship the president. Yes, we are to respect him, but we're not to worship him. Sometimes we have people that go beyond respect, and they sort of like worship the person like he holds he holds all power. He holds materialistic powers for us and materialistic things that he can think, but also still in that he can lose that. We can lose that as well. He can lose that power as well because God can take it away. Just as God has given him that position or got him into that position, he can lose that same position. So we should maintain that instruction, that first and most understandable instructions as we look at it. Um, we may not bow down to statues. We have many statues that are around. These statues are not things. We put some of us, we have the statues there for commemorations of a person that walked this earth and did great things as a memory or a token to them, but we are not to worship them. Go there and like they did back in ancient times, put their drinks there or food there, pray to them and things like that. We're not supposed to do that. Those are not the things. But if you're going in, you're saying, okay, and you read the plaque, oh, he did this, he did that, or she did this and she did that, and you go back and you read the history. That's a different thing. But you go there, you bowing down, and you're leaving various things there. We're not supposed to do those type of things. We have many statues, but we're not to bow down on things like that. But we worship money, success. We worship success when people are very successful and they hold a certain type of power or status. We put them on a plateau that's even much. Sometimes we make them like they're higher than God. We put them on a higher plateau. I've come across meeting in my time as being a director at the studio. I have I have met football players, basketball players, other ministers, people that are well known. Like I see Davis in my life before he passed. I got to meet Harry Belafonte. I got to meet various types of people that were famous. And when I met them, oh, hi, Ozzy Davis. And I shook his hand. I remember he wrote, my daughter, Ida was being born at, and he wrote he signed an autograph for us at that time. My daughter got an autograph for me for the football coach, Steelers football coach, not Chuck Noll. Oh my God, I can't think of his name now. His name is me. But the last Steelers coach before Mike Tomlin, she got his autograph because I really like, my Steelers. I'm a Steelers fan. I like the Steelers and I like their coaches, but I don't worship them. I like them and I admire them. Um, um, that's what we do. We can admire a person, but I don't worship a man or anybody, even if he's in ministry. I don't worship him. I admire him. I respect him for his dedication and his understanding of the word and bringing the word forth. That's what I understand, and that's what I hang my hat on with any person that has a certain status in life. Now, as we're gonna look, I know I had some cross references on there. Well, not cross references, some other things there. Let's look at First John 5:21, and let's look at what First John 5:21 says. Um, okay. Let's look at First John 5:21. Let's see what First John 5:21 said. I think I lost a few of my people here. Um, let me just see something here. Let me just do this. I'm sorry, I'm stopping. Just let me know. Just hit this again, and there we go. Okay, so let's go to First John 5. I said 5:21. Let's see what First John 5:21 says. First John 5:21, and I am such. Please forgive me because I am kind of like out of my mind right now because I'm so late. Now. I'm being a football coach. I don't like being late to anything. Even my practices, I don't like being late to. And even if I'm late at a practice, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be a little discombobulated because that's something I don't like to do. So we're going to look at First John 5:21, and in five. Wait a minute, let me make sure that's right. That's First John 5:21. Okay, First John 5:21. I'm trying to see where we. Oh, here it is. The bottom part, 5:21. Little children, guard yourselves from idols. So I'm gonna double back to. I'm gonna double back to a couple of lines back. I'm gonna go back a couple of lines here. I'm gonna go back a couple of lines for us. I'm gonna go back a couple of lines. I'm going to go right back a couple of lines here. Let me see where I can start at. Let's start at 19. No, matter of fact, let's start at 18. We know that no one who has been born of God, who has been born of God, sins, but he who was born of God keeps him, and the evil one does not touch him. This is John speaking. This is John, and he's saying, we know that no one who has been born of God's sins. So, in other words, if you're born of God, meaning you're being born again, you're not of sin. You're not of sin. You're not going to be of sin. But he who was born of God keeps him. So you being reborn and baptized, you will now keep God within your heart. And the evil one does not touch you. The evil one will not touch you because the only way the evil one can touch you is he's gotta have permission. Just like with Job, like Job, Job, Job. Um, he had to go and get permission to do the things that he was able to do to Job because he was trying to get Job to trip up, and Job couldn't. He could not get Job to trip up. Job showed his favor, his favor in this, and this was how he kept honoring God. but also in Job. There were times he came, you know, we read it, and he came pretty close. But what had happened was he always wanted to be in front of God to address God Himself. Meaning, I want to plead my case to God, what I have done or what I am going to do. I want to plead my case because when I plead my case to Him, I know everything will be all right. I know I won't have no problems. I will be okay. And this is what God like. This is what God really wants. Hey, Miss Finley, how you doing? So this is what God had really liked about Job. Uh, so we see that in 18, and he keeps him, and the evil one will not touch him. We know that we are of God, and that the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. Meaning, while we're on this earth, the evil one, as we all know who, when John is talking about the evil one, who he's talking about, he will try to do everything and anything and whatever he can to trip you up. And this is what John is saying. That's why God has given, in the time of Moses, he gave the Israelites the law. He gave them the Ten Commandments. They were, I read when I was with on the live with Lady Red's live reading it. Good evening, Apostle Arthur. How you doing? As I was reading with Lady Red and we were reading through the entire Bible, we see God had given the Israelites, and they're his people, but they're his people because they were supposed to be what was Jesus was, meaning they were supposed to be the light for everybody to look to go to, but they kept falling. They kept going back to Baal and things as we get into um, Revelations. I think this Saturday, I believe it's this Saturday, when we get into Revelations, you will see Baal. They will keep falling back to Baal and stuff and things like that. So God is letting us know that he understands this and he knows. And we know that that the sons of God have come and has given us understanding so that we may know. So, who were the sons of God? The son of God, not the sons, the son of God. Who was the son of God in our book? He did mention the sons of Israel, or the son, but who is the son of God John is talking about? He's talking about Jesus. Jesus came and he's given us the understanding so that we may know. So we may know God. This is what he's talking about. We may know God, him who is true, and we are in him